All right, so let's talk about some healthy food swaps you can really easily make. And this is one of the things that we love to do with our clients because it doesn't involve really giving up too much or feeling super restrictive. It's really just taking something that you're already eating and looking for a healthier version of it. So most of the swaps we're going to cover today are really just getting rid of products that have things like unhealthy oils, food additives, or more sugar than is actually needed to make the product taste better. While it's really not good for anyone to be eating too much of these unhealthy oils and additives, as we get older, we really need to pay more attention to these ingredients. It's vital that as we hit a certain age, that we're making sure we're getting enough good, healthy fats to keep our cell membranes healthy and limit the ingredients that are going to lead to inflammation. Okay? So let's get started. And hey, for more wellness and weight loss information for women over 50, be sure to subscribe to our channel and click the bell to be notified when we post a new video. All right, so let's start off with tuna. And tuna can really be a healthy food as it contains protein and good healthy fat, but we have such concerns about the mercury levels in them, and that is what led us to swap out their old standbys, which are things like Chicken of the Sea and Bumblebee brands. So these companies typically catch their tuna by catching a lot at one time, using long lines that go really deep in the ocean to catch the fish. However, we prefer brands that use what's called pole caught methods, and they're actually using fishing poles, which catch the fish that's higher up on the sea, and those are found to have lower amounts, and they also tend to be smaller fish that are up there. So they haven't been around as much and don't have as high a mercury level. In addition, a lot of the tuna cans are lined with BPA, which we also want to avoid as it can be harmful to our cells and metabolism, and we need to pay closer attention to these things, as I said, especially as we get older. So we like brands such as Wild Planet and Safe Catch, which have been tested to be lower in mercury. And as another alternative, we also like these companies have canned salmon, which is a good alternative to the tuna, and also mackerel. So those would be great swaps. All right, moving on, soy sauce. So many of the soy sauces out there are made from GMO soy, which is not good. We want to avoid that as much as possible. But even if they aren't, and you need to avoid gluten, as I do, and along with many of our clients, a lot of the soy sauces contain wheat. So while there are some good, decent organic wheat-free tamaris, they are often really high in the amounts of sodium. So our swap for soy sauce would be coconut aminos. If you haven't tried it, it has a really nice flavor. And don't worry if you're not a coconut fan. It has no taste whatsoever from coconut because it's actually made from the sap from the trees rather than the actual coconut. But they contain some naturally occurring amino acids and B vitamins, and they're also very low glycemic. So we like one from Trader Joe's that is a really good brand, and there's also a brand called Coconut Secret. So there are others, but just make sure you check the ingredients and look for ones that don't have added sugar. All right, we love soups, and who doesn't love soups? Especially, it's so warming and can be really hearty and filling. But again, many of these soups contain what we call yucky ingredients like yeast extract. They're so super high in sodium, so many of them, even the organic brands. However, there are some more decent ones like Imagine and Amy's and Pacific. But again, just check the ingredients and the sodium because even the healthier ones can be high. And of course, homemade soups are really going to be your best bet. And we actually have a great soup handout. If you haven't seen that already, we'll put a link below. It's so easy to make your own soup and you can make a lot at one time. It's cost effective and health effective, right? Because you're in charge of the ingredients. So along those lines, you also want to try and swap out some of those broths that you might be using. We're not fans of those bouillon cubes. They have a lot of ingredients like yeast extract. But there are some really good broths out there. Pacific has a decent one, and Kettle on Fire is really good. So again, just check the ingredients and make that swap. All right, let's talk about marinara. Now, marinara sauce, for the most part, it's not too bad. It's pretty okay. But we prefer ones that use organic tomatoes because tomatoes, according to the Environmental Working Group, they have that on their list of fruits and vegetables to always get organic because they do have a higher pesticide residue. So we want to try and get organic tomatoes and organic tomato sauce. But we also like to look for ones that have no added sugar. Now, there's going to be a little bit of natural sugar because tomatoes have a little bit of sugar, but you want to look for some that don't have any added sugar. So again, when you're looking on the label, go for 5 or 6 grams per half cup. And again, look at the oils that they're using. We love olive oil. It's so good for you, so many health benefits. So look for a brand that contains olive oil rather than canola or any of the other oils, like this one.
So next up is oils, and we're going to highlight canola oil here because though canola has a reputation as a really heart-healthy fat, we see lots of women using this oil in their kitchens. Most of the canola oil on the market is actually made by going through an extraction method, and that renders them really heavily processed and not a heart-healthy choice. So if you want a neutral tasting oil, we really like avocado oil. That's one of our favorites. That's made from pressing fresh avocados and then spinning at high speed, and they extract the oil that way. Much safer than chemical extraction. And of course, can't deny our love for olive oil. Extra virgin olive oil is amazing. And we use that in sauces, salad dressings, pestos, and over low heat cooking. Avocado oil takes the heat a bit more, so we always use that for high temperatures. Okay, next up is mayonnaise. There are so many commercial mayonnaise out there, and most of them are loaded with unhealthy oils like soy oil, safflower oil, and the canola oil that we just mentioned. So the problem with these oils is that they're very inflammatory and overly processed. So what we don't want you to be fooled by is that they use tricky labeling here. So for instance, on a Hellmann's made with olive oil, the first oil is soy oil. So they like to just throw the olive oil in to kind of throw you off track, but then there's other unsavory ingredients in the mayonnaise. So we favor avocado-based mayonnaise, which is delicious. It's super clean ingredients. They only use avocado oil and really simple ingredients. Sir Kensington or Primal Kitchen are two of our favorite brands. Okay, then we wanted to talk about peanut butter or nut butters in general. So nut butters are such an amazing option for snacks, and they offer healthy fats and good proteins and fiber and other nutrients like B vitamins and magnesium, but you have to watch out for sneaky ingredients. So we're going to give you a couple examples. Skippy reduced fat is one where it sounds healthy, but the second ingredient is corn syrup solids, and then it's followed by a host of inflammatory oils like cottonseed and soy and rapeseed oil, which is another name for canola. So Skippy Natural is a little better, but it still includes added sugar and palm oil, which is a fully saturated fat. And it's just so unnecessary to include these in the nut butters. We also have Jif, which has added sugar and fully hydrogenated oils. Honestly, the worst thing for your heart, and it's overall so inflammatory. There's just no reason to ruin these nuts with added sugars and oils, so go for natural. A better option would be something like Smucker's Natural, which has just peanuts and a small amount of added salt. And again, just read your labels. Organic in this case isn't really crucial, but you're just looking for brands that have no added oils or added sugar, just nuts or seeds. And it's okay to have a little sodium. So we love getting different varieties. We'll get almond butter, sunflower butter, cashew butter, and some good brands include things like Once Again or Smucker's Natural. Some Trader Joe's brands, or your local markets may have their own.
So moving on, let's talk about crackers. Now, sometimes you're just looking for something that has that crunchy, salty taste, and we hear you, we like our crackers, but many of them are really processed or using refined flours and contain GMOs and some other yucky ingredients. So we want to avoid things like Ritz and wheat thins. But there's a few better alternatives, and we like ones from Mary's Gone Crackers, if you've heard of them. And another one is Simple Mills. It's a good one. And these really use just pure natural ingredients, not too heavily processed, no bad oils and things like that. So next time you're looking for a good cracker, try one of these. All right, so I mentioned the marinara sauce earlier, but another one food that you could swap and make it so much healthier is pasta. Pasta, it can be, of course, yummy, and a lot of people see it as a comfort food, but it is pretty high in carbs, refined flours, and it just really doesn't have much nutrients. However, there are some swaps out there that can give you more protein, fiber, and other nutrients. For example, if you haven't already, take a look at lentil or chickpea pastas. They're high in protein and fiber, and while they aren't low carb, the protein and the fiber is not only good for our mature bodies, but also they are going to help us feel full longer. So other alternatives are things like palmini. If you haven't tried that, that's made from hearts of palm, and it has a little bit different texture, but once you add sauce to it, it's really good. And of course, if you haven't tried zoodles, you gotta love the zoodles. Just all they are made from zucchini, and a lot of times you could find them spiralized in the grocery store, just already made for you. So the palmini along with the zoodles are going to be great, healthy, low carb options. All right, are you one of those who drinks those sports drinks, Gatorade? During and after a workout, of course, it's really important to replenish your nutrients and electrolytes and give yourself energy. But oh geez, some of these, they're really disgusting what's in these drinks. And it can actually do more harm than good. They have artificial flavors and colors, high fructose corn syrup, artificial sweeteners, and we really strongly advise against any of these. And when it comes to a sports drink or electrolyte drink, go for something more natural. So coconut water is actually a natural electrolyte, and we like a brand called Harmless Harvest. It's a brand that doesn't have any additives in it, and it's not heavily processed. However, with one thing you should know about coconut water is it is high naturally in sugar. So just keep an eye out for that. But another thing you could do is just get a good powder electrolyte and mix it in your water yourself. A few good brands of those that you can mix in are Noom and Ultima Replenisher. So again, if you have any of these nasty sports drinks in your cabinet, we say ditch them and go for something healthier.
Next up, we have breakfast cereals. So there's a reason that cereals, both hot and cold, are so popular at breakfast time. Everybody loves quick and easy. The problem with quick and easy is that the foods are often overly processed and they don't offer much in the way of nutrition, or they're overly sweetened. So even, for example, an organic packaged oats can carry up to 13 grams of sugar in one packet. So that's like taking plain oats and adding 3 full teaspoons of sugar to your bowl. For oatmeal, you want to look for no added sugar brands and just add up to 1 teaspoon of your own sweetener if you feel like you need that, along with some berries or diced apple, and that can help sweeten it naturally. So we'll look for adding maybe just a little bit of raw honey or maple syrup or something like monk fruit to help sweeten it. We also are big fans of something called Kia cereals, which are packed with oats and seeds and also make really delicious overnight oats. So check those out in the supermarket. There aren't many great options with cold cereals, honestly. One option we have come to know and like is something called Love Grown, which is made from bean flour. I personally get their plain, which has no added sugar and not a whole lot of flavor, but I combine it with berries and nuts, and that makes it really good. You can also get their flavored version. They have a cinnamon, I think, and one other might be honey. So those have a bit more sugar, about 8 grams per cup. So what we'll tell people to do is just have half a cup to cut it down to 4 grams, which is only 1 teaspoon. Then you can combine it with a plain, or just again, spruce it up with nuts and seeds to round out your cereal bowl. Three Wishes is also a favorite in Stephanie's household, and my parents really like it, especially my dad. It uses monk fruit as a low sugar approved sweetener with a base of chickpeas and pea protein, so it has 8 grams of protein per serving, so that's a fun option as well. Moving on, we wanted to talk about breakfast or snack bars. So another pet peeve of ours is these breakfast bars. We see so many people grabbing brands like Nutri-Grain or Belvita, which is very popular. These have a lot of added sugar and use poor quality oils like we've mentioned before. So something that Belvita shares on their website is saying it's a nutritious, convenient, and portable on-the-go breakfast choice that contains slow-release carbs from wholesome grains to help fuel your body for 4 hours. So yes, they have about 4 grams of fiber per serving, but we cannot have that outweigh the 12 grams of sugar per serving in the bars. So this would not be a healthy option. We talked a lot about protein bars in another video, which we're going to link to in the description below. But we can say here, honestly, that most protein bars are really glorified candy bars. They have artificial sugars, they have poor quality processed proteins that are added to them. So a couple of brands that we've come to know and like, one is Aloha Bars. That's my favorite that I've come to really enjoy. Stephanie likes IQ bars. They both use healthy protein sources like brown rice and pumpkin seed, and both those bars are actually enhanced with something called tapioca fiber, which has been shown to act as a prebiotic fiber that feeds good gut bugs. So if you're going to pick one of these bars, whether for breakfast or a snack, make sure that it has wholesome ingredients and it's not loaded with sugar or processed proteins. Okay, next up is salad dressings. So most dressings are made, unfortunately, with poor quality oils. That seems to be a theme of the video here, is the poor quality oils. Even the ones that say olive oil will often have other oils added alongside added sugars, especially the light salad dressings. They can be the worst offenders of this. So you want to be careful when you're picking out a salad dressing. We favor dressings that are just using totally just pure olive oil or avocado oil. Primal Kitchen is one brand that we've come to really like. Their turmeric vinaigrette is one of our favorites. Taste just will vary for everybody, so kind of you have to pick and choose and sort of do some taste testing to see which one you like the best. Honestly, we mostly make our own salad dressing. It's so simple. So check out our download in the description below where we share some salad dressing recipes and some of our favorite salad dressing bottled brands. In the same description section below the video, we share links to even more supportive information, including our PM Meal Mastery program, which is specifically geared towards postmenopausal women to help you boost energy, maintain a healthy weight, lower inflammation, reduce dependence on medications, and nourish your body from the inside out. As always, be sure to like, subscribe, and click the bell to be notified of future content so we know you want to hear more. And check out our next video for even more support on managing weight and health after 50.